All right, so it's been a busy day at the White House. The American president is scheduled to hold a series of meetings at the Oval Office. The first meeting was with Turkiye's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and both the leaders held pre-bilateral press conference with the discussions ranging from global and regional issues. The American president urged Erdogan to stop purchasing Russian oil to push Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. In return, Trump has promised to end sanctions on Turkey over the purchase of Russian weapons. Now, Trump also praised the role that Turkey has played in Syria. He credited Erdogan for driving out Bashar al-Assad and called it a victory for Turkey. Now, Turkey's president also pitched in for a defense deal. He said the discussions on F-35s and F-16s will be on the cards when both the leaders meet behind the door for a bilateral. Now, Turkey is seeking to recoup a $1.6 billion investment in F-35 fighter jets after Washington, remember, had pushed Ankara out from the joint production program and had cancelled the sale of the F-35 fighter jets. Now, on the issue of the war on the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, Donald Trump reiterated his previous demand. Now, the American president said, "We all want the Gaza war to end, but all hostages must be released." Now, Trump's next bilateral is with Pakistan, where the Pakistani Army Chief General Asim Munir will be accompanying Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. The US-Pakistan ties have witnessed a serious escalation after Islamabad gave Donald Trump credit for the so-called peace intervention during the war with India in the month of May. And this is going to be General Asim Munir's third visit to the United States in recent months, and also a second meeting with Trump. The presence of Asim Munir at the meeting is highly significant. It is unusual in diplomatic protocol for the country's army chief to be invited to sit at the table with the American president. But Munir's presence at the diplomatic roundtable shows the tilt in balance of power in Pakistan. All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what is happening with respect to these meetings, we're joined by my colleague Susan Tehrani, who's joining us live from New York. Susan, it is a packed day of several of these bilateral meetings. Bring us up to speed with what Donald Trump is trying to push through in the meetings that he's having with the different leaders there.
So you mentioned his meeting with Erdogan, Turkiye's president, and his counterpart, a NATO ally. There's going to be a lot of discussion on trade. It is said that Erdogan has come with billions of dollars of a shopping list, hoping to secure those F-35s and F-16s and have sanctions lifted on Turkey by the United States. This is contingent on one, as President Trump said, he really wants Turkey to stop buying Russian oil. And also, Turkey in 2019 purchased Russian aircraft as well. So that's going to be a sticking point. And if that stops and if that business stops, then there's going to be a highlight and big headlines coming out of this bilateral meeting. Of course, Erdogan is very influential when it comes to the Gaza conflict in the Middle East region. Some believe he's one of the most influential figures when it comes to that. And President Trump that he said that he's respected by all sides. He said that in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war. But of course, the issue of Gaza is going to be front and center as well. You talked about Asim Munir being in the meeting, breaking protocol with Shehbaz Sharif. They're expected to meet President Trump later in the Oval Office. It's said that it's going to be closed press. This meeting comes at a time, first of all, that on the eve of this meeting, Pakistan has legitimized crypto with regulations kicking in from today. We know that the Trump administration favors crypto. It also comes on the backdrop of President Trump pointing to the fact that he wants Afghanistan's background military base back. It'll be interesting to see regarding that, how Pakistan could court the White House in action and not just words. And of course, it comes as a critical time for the Israel-Gaza conflict as well. The issue of terrorism, counterterrorism is going to be mentioned. It's also important to note that when it comes to tariffs, Pakistan has been able to lock 19% tariffs from the United States. So they are going to be perhaps talking about trade to a certain extent, but I think the issue is really going to center around what Pakistan can do for the United States if it's willing to do it, not just in words, and how the United States can benefit perhaps from this relationship that's developing. We still don't know which direction it's going to go.
Indeed, it'll be very interesting to watch out for as to how that meeting unfolds when it happens. Thank you very much indeed, Susan Tehrani, for joining us from New York with that perspective.